and welcome back to the Kevin Wright Show. This is a quick movie review for Midsommar. Midsommar was directed by Ari Aster. If you remember Ari Aster, he made last year's Hereditary, which is a really scary, really well thought out, pretty fucked up horror movie from last year. It got great reviews and it's worth a watch. The story of Midsommar is about a group of friends who are all at a crossroads in their life, all struggling with some big decisions in their life. And they all get convinced to go to a getaway in northern Sweden, in a secret remote mountain village community in Sweden, to experience a midsummer festival that's led by a cult. Our group of friends ends up being seduced by this cult, and the cult uses psychedelics and drugs to kind of lure them into a state of unawareness. And that's when the shit really takes place. This cult needs human sacrifices to continue its tradition and worship its god. And they end up luring in our outsiders to be their sacrifices. I want to say this right off the bat. Midsommar does have horror elements. Like this movie has some really grotesque imagery. There are images of a deformed child that is the scripture writer for the cult. There are images of human bodies being mutilated and messed with. There are highly sexual images for some of the rituals of this cult. So it does have horror elements. It does have tension that our main characters and our heroes get put into, which they don't often do. Most of our heroes end up getting a grisly death in this movie. But the reason I think you should see this movie is not necessarily because it's a horror movie. Like I said, there are horror elements. But this movie to me is a deep metaphorical movie. Every scene is so well crafted with music, with cinematography. This movie is beautifully shot. The storytelling is so well done in this movie, and I believe it displays well as a movie of vignettes. Every scene is detailed to kind of give us a commentary and a metaphor about our lives. Yes, our friends get trapped in this fucked up cult where they get murdered and there's mutilation and horrible things take place that we can't even understand. But this movie's trying to communicate to us, in my opinion, that what are the atrocities we commit in community and relationships? Yes, our friends in this movie got stuck in this mountain community where there's murders, sacrifices, and rituals, and just disgusting behavior. But what do we do in our communities that is disgusting? Some of the murders and some of the sacrifices in this movie are pictures of the metaphorical murder we do when we don't care for each other in our communities. We're in a romantic relationship and we aren't present enough. We aren't there to hear the sadness of our friends and our partners. What are the atrocities that we commit in our community? That's what this movie communicates to me. This movie is beautifully shot. It's fun to look at. It's thrilling to watch. It's disturbing to watch. But to me, the grander message is, how are we treating each other in civilization right now? How are we taking care of each other? In this movie, they use the term, are you being held by your community? Because even though you come to this cult community and see gruesome things and grisly atrocities, we love each other and we're open with each other and we take care of each other. And it's kind of suggesting that maybe we would never commit murder. We would never see these gruesome cult things take place in our lives. But when do we ignore each other? When do we not listen to each other's sadnesses? When do we not cry with each other? Which is a big theme in this movie. I think you ought to go out and see Midsommar as soon as possible. See it in the theater. It makes it way more intense, way more disturbing, and it causes me to think about it a lot more. This is a very thought-provoking movie. I think Ari Aster has established himself as a fantastic filmmaker in every regard, cinematography, in the sound editing, in the score, in the music that he puts in. And he gets phenomenal performances from his actors. The performances in this movie are so good. It's a delight to see them, even though it's tough to watch sometimes. Highly recommend Midsommar. And man, we're right in the middle of summer here in 2019. There's not a ton of movies coming up left. This is one that you might want to see a time or two and see if some of these deeper aspects affect you like they did me. This has been a quick review on The Kevin Wright Show. Go to the movies.